all day, every
wow.
day.
A huge upset. A 16 has never beaten a 1. Wow. 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 Blue Christmas. My favorite Christmas carol of all time, the Promo UPFront Podcast theme song. I am one of your hosts, Bill Petrie. Welcome to episode number 25 on December 25th. That would be Christmas Day if you are already sick of being around family. Like I said, I'm one of your hosts, Bill Petrie. With me as always, the Field Marshal of Frosty the Snowman, the Director of Decking the Halls, the head honcho of Ho Ho Ho's. He's not a ho, but he is Kirby Hasseman. Kirby, Merry Christmas. How are you?
I am doing well. Merry Christmas to you. I am doing well. I think that for our family, like all of a sudden we looked up and Christmas is literally right around the corner as we're recording this. And so there's a lot that has to be done in a very brief period of time. So that's a bit stressful, but on the other side, I think you'll appreciate this. I do voiceovers for different, clients, and one of them I do their on hold voiceover, and I just sent them today their voiceover for January 1st through January 15th 2021, and that was freaking satisfying to say.
I bet it was. Yeah,
so I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, same, doing great, getting ready for we're recording this a day or so before the big day and getting ready for that, and really looking forward to just trying to unwind a little bit and trying to do as much do as much or as little as I can, I guess I should say. Do absolute little as I can. But it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for me to do very little. Want to know why, Kirby?
Why, Bill?
Because I'm going to be addicted to my phone and addicted to that Promo Pulse app that, gosh darn it, I can't get enough of. Would you like to know why, Kirby?
Why is that, Bill?
Thank you for feeding right into my easy read on this. Yes, it's convenient. It's got that search, save, and share from content from not part of the industry, not most of the industry, not 3/4 of the industry. Nope, all of the industry. And Kirby has it right there on his iPhone XR Z-Pack level phone. Yeah, I have no idea. Kirby has that right on his phone. So do I. It's right there. It's got great ideas, inspiration, information. It's free to use. We've talked about that. We've also talked about now they have an Alexa-enabled app. So if you have an Alexa device, an Amazon device, you can enable the Promo Pulse app. You can get new content. You can ask it to show you, read you specials, and you can also ask it to listen to fine broadcasts like this one, or you can skip podcasts like all the other ones. But now, if you haven't noticed, last week you should have gotten your first weekend pulse check email, and subscribers are getting that email every single Sunday, not just most Sundays, every Sunday. And it's it's going to be ideas from publishers that are popular with other distributors, so it's going to show you what everybody else is looking at. And I really love that feature, so that you don't feel left out of the loop. You can kind of really disconnect, reconnect for a few minutes, and then walk away.
Yeah, I love it. It really does. I love that they call it Promo Pulse because it does give you sort of the pulse of the industry. And I like that I can sort of check in a brief way and not be all consumed.
Yeah, I wonder if that's how Jason Noakes came up with the name of the company. Well, we'll have to ask him that at some point. But anyway, so head over to your local app store. They might be closed on Christmas Day. No, it's electronic. You actually don't have to go there. You just click a button. Open all the time, 24/7, people, holidays included. Download the Promo Pulse app. You're not going to be sorry you did. Now, Kirby, are you ready to broadcast at an eggnog level today?
Yeah, I was going to say candy cane, but yeah, let's go eggnog.
How about we start with candy cane and then end with eggnog? Is that okay?
Sounds good.
So we're going to mix up a little bit. We're going to do a quick promo up front that Kirby has. I don't know what he's going to bring up, although I probably could guess. And then we're going to kind of do even though it's a week early, we're going to do a little bit of a year review. So Kirby, what is our promo up front topic for today, Christmas Day 2020?
Yeah, so the obvious one is big news this week. There was a big acquisition. I know that we generally don't spend a ton of time on acquisitions, but this one felt bigger to me. The the artist formerly known as Bic Graphic, the Koozie Group, made announcements that they acquired Imagen Brands, so Vitronic and Crown. And so that was a pretty big acquisition, as the year sort of ended out. I don't know. Do we usually get acquisitions at the end of the year, or are they usually announced at the front of the year? When does that usually happen?
Generally this is the silly season for people moving from one company to another. Nick Latour just left Imagen Brands to go to HPG. And then usually the acquisitions, the big ones, they love doing Expo and during ASI Orlando. But since those shows are virtual this year, my guess is you're going to see those announcements coming a little quicker. Now with this particular one, I saw this coming, not like I'm not Promo Damas or anything. But I saw this coming when Paul Logge was named head of Imagen Brands. He had been at Bic Graphic. He had been at Bic. And then he hired Lisa Lamond, who also was at Bic. So to me, they're kind of, hey, let's get the band back together. And so it doesn't surprise me that HIG Capital, that owns Bic, or now the Koozie Group, has brought in Imagen Brands. They've got some really strong brands there. And I think that's going to be, honestly, if I'm being truthfully honest, I think both companies had some weak spots. I think this will help address some of those weak spots, both in just the brands that they have, but also manufacturing and decoration. And so I know both companies, I know you do as well, and hope everybody, benefits from this acquisition. But to me, it was kind of like, oh, finally, it's about time. Because honestly, imagine EBSCO, which had owned Imagen Brands, Fortune 500 company, they've been looking to unload that thing for years.
Right.
So I think Bic is the right company for them. And I hope it's a great success for everybody.
Yeah, I think the announcement said, and they always say this during the announcement, that they will continue to operate individually and that sort of thing. And I'm sure they will for 10 or 15 minutes. But I will be curious to see where, those, what's the word I'm looking for? The overlap
redundancies.
Where the redundancies can hopefully help. My only concern, whenever I think a lot of us, whenever we hear an acquisition like this, is we think of those people that we love and respect that work at each of those places, and think of them and certainly hope that this works out for those folks.
Yeah, that's the tough thing. When two companies join together, there are going to be redundancies, and those redundancies are generally taken care of fairly quickly because it's cost reduction. It's easier to reduce costs than increase revenue, and they're going to do that. And you hope. People are going to be affected. It stinks. There's no way around it. It's just it's a reality of a world where acquisitions happen often.
Right.
So, you just hope that the people who are being transitioned or might be transitioned out of a job are being taken care of in the most humane way possible, in terms of severance, in terms of assistance for job placement. And you hope they make the right decisions for the people that do stay.
Yeah.
So, I've seen it both ways. I've been part of it both ways, and it's not easy. It's much more an art than a science. And so, best to everybody there, and then we'll see what happens. It'll be very interesting. I still think the name the Koozie Group is dumb, but that's beside
Well, since we haven't used it during the entirety of this conversation. But what I think is interesting is that, you think of, I think that for me, Vitronic and Crown separately were companies that I did business with pretty regularly. And so when you have those relationships and you feel like, okay, they do a good job with this sort of thing, where a larger organization that doesn't always have the best customer service reputation, that becomes a concern.
Yeah. I will say this. I don't love the timing of the announcement, to be honest with you. I think from a human capital perspective, everybody knows there's redundancies. Everybody now starts looking and asking themselves, am I a redundancy? And it's a really crummy way to head into the final week of the year when you're trying to catch your breath, enjoy time with friends and family. I think this announcement could have waited until after the first of the year, because no decisions are going to be made between now and then, or whatever decisions have been made aren't going to be executed between now and then. Why give people that kind of angst? I will say that I really question the timing of it. I think it's crummy, and I would never, ever, ever do that. And so whoever recommended that, you're wrong.
So I'd be curious to know, though. I wonder if that signals that there are more announcements like this coming, and they wanted to be the first.
I don't know. I'm sure
Yeah.
there are. I'm sorry. I don't know, but I did want to say that. I do think it's kind of, again, if I'm working at either organization, I'm kind of going, oh, you look around.
Yeah.
You have the same job title as I do, and where are they located? And I wonder what their salary is, and.
Well, and from the other perspective, from the corporation's perspective, it makes your best employees, not just the ones that you think that there will be redundancies. It makes your best employees look around and go, do I really want to live through this?
Like I said, I really question the timing of it, but they don't pay me to question that timing.
Yeah.
I get paid just to question it. I question their questioning of it.
Yeah, that's right. And you do a great job with that.
Well, thank you very little. All right, Kirby, let's move on. So we talked about, and this is the most planned podcast I think you and I have ever done. Quite frankly, we don't know exactly what each one of us is going to talk about, but we thought we'd do kind of this week a year wrap up, a little maybe a week early, but that's purposeful. We want to talk about what happened this year, kind of put our stamp on it. And then my hope is, I think next week, and Kirby, we haven't talked about this, is that we'll kind of look forward to 2021, maybe in the next podcast. So we'll wrap a bow in 2020, and then we're going to look forward in 2021. And I'll do Kirby's prep work like I did this week for him.
Yeah, that was really helpful. Thank you.
I'm just kidding. So let's talk about this. We want to focus on, let's focus on 2020. A lot of good things happened in 2020. What was your biggest surprise of 2020, Kirby?
Yeah.
In terms of the industry.
Yeah. So in the interest of transparency, Bill did do some prep work for me, and I did reply that I wanted him to do this for me every week. So that's a totally appropriate joke. But in the idea that things that surprised me, my initial reaction was literally like, everything. Like there was like the entire, like there is nothing about 2020 that any of us made bold predictions, and this is what it ended up being. Yeah. So it was actually hard for me to kind of come up with this, but I think you and I talked about this, is like midway through the year, it was actually pissing me off when people were making predictions midway through the year that, in November, this is going to happen. And I was like, hey, asshats, where were you in January? Because I really could have used that.
Right.
So a couple things that popped into my head. Things that surprised me was the way that the industry rallied to do PPE. I really felt like they obviously from a business perspective, but I actually really feel like from a service perspective, some suppliers in particular looked around and saw their supply chain and said, we can do this. And it could, I was surprised pleasantly about that. I was actually a little surprised and it makes sense in hindsight, but I think during it, as it went down, the surge in content, like I think people who were were not used to having that kind of time looked around and said, what can I do productively? And there were some people who really dove into content, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah, there are people who are very anti-content who got in content. That's not a criticism. That's just that's a surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. And then finally, I felt like for me, it was back to basics. I started to see things that were that people would say, oh, they're old school. But when budgets are tight, old school still works. So print became a thing that was really good for us. Calendars were back. Drinkware is a basic piece that really, so it was like those back to basics promotional pieces kind of found footing again for me. So how about that?
So my biggest surprise, I focused on just one. I mean, because there were a lot, and there's going to be some overlap in things because we'll get to some other categories here. My biggest surprise for me was people pivoting, and I hate that word, but people pivoting and creating companies to serve needs. A lot of people found themselves out of a job or unhappy or dissatisfied with the job. And I thought about, what Soapbox is doing, Dan Piggott and Brett Schaefer with their EME style virtual trade shows. I think what they've done is amazing. I think Live 2, what Elena Rubenstein and Scott Anderson have done there, really trying to create a lifestyle brand in the industry about, what do you wish to live to be? Obviously focused on distributor sales, but also, the rest of your life. I thought that was great. And I'm going to throw very selfishly and very self-servingly me and Kelsey into that. We saw a gap in the industry in terms of marketing and branding, and we started Brandivate because of that. So I think, that was really a surprise moment, how many people were just like, all right, cool, I'm doing this now.
Yeah. Well, and I love that because, the idea and, as we talked about the acquisition as the first story, like that is one of the things that I automatically do. I'm like, oh, okay, so I don't have a job. What business can I start? And so,
Right.
but the idea that people in our industry who maybe historically didn't do that, there were several of them that did. I was really impressed.
Yeah, it was very cool. All right. Next category, best quote unquote pivot. I'll go start on this one.
Yep.
So I thought the best pivot of the industry is honestly the way the industry overall rethought events. We are such an event-driven industry, not only from what distributors sell their end users in terms of their events, but also our events, how we see new products, how we travel to cities to do those things. And so I thought, Promo Corner starting a promo show, they were first out of the gate. They were first to market with an online trade show.
Yep.
And that was a very quick, I was part of that briefly, a very small part. That's a Joel Moore thing. And kudos to him for starting that. But, that was the first one out of the gate. Common SKU. I thought they nailed their first virtual event with SKUCon at home. It was a test for them, and I don't think it could have gone any better. PPAI with Leadership Development Workshop. First large-scale volunteer event. They had 300 people, and it went very, very well. And it was a multi-day event. So that was the first multi-day event I know that went very, very well. And then the last one, I thought OPA, and I wanted to give a shout out to you because you're on the OPA board, full transparency. The OPA board did such a great job doing the first in-person event in the industry after the onset of the pandemic. And what I love about that is you set and created a blueprint, a guidebook, a playbook, if you will, of how other regionals can do the same thing safely. And not only have people copied that, they've maybe embellished it and improved it, which I know, no pride of authorship there. But I love the way people really rethought, okay, this is what we do. We can't do this, but what can we do? So there's always a group of people that lament, oh, we can't do this, we can't do that, we can't do this. Don't tell me what you can't do. Tell me what you can do. Yeah. And I love what that group did. So that was my biggest pivot my best pivot for 2020, Kirby Hasseman. What say you?
That's really good. And I appreciate the shout out to OPA. The one that's easy, I think, is the suppliers who pivoted into the mask business. But I won't spend a lot of time on that. But to me, that's kind of like the low hanging fruit. And what I liked was, there were several, in particular for me, Badger Sportswear jumped in and they got to a mask that I thought was not only nice and good, but it was a branded piece. Like I felt like some people got in and it's like, okay, we're just going to get N95s and whatever. But for me, I'm like, that's not my business. My business is branded merchandise. So those who pivoted into that, I was really impressed with. I want to throw Common SKU out there again. I agree with you. I think that was they set the stage for what online events look like. We actually immediately, I was like, oh, hop in. That's a really cool platform. We're going to use it for our event. And so I agree with you. And then the cool thing with them is they did an event and then immediately started for the next event, but they created a podcast to tell people how to create an online event. And then let me just tell you, as emails and calls and Zoom calls, they were happy to jump in and help me with my event. So that was a big one.
Yeah, they're so good at doing that. They're really good at doing that. And they're so great pivots. That reminds me of something else, of a little bit of a pivot there, Kirby.
Okay.
As I think about the world of promotional merchandise and promotional products, we all know our good pals at Logo Mats making great floor mats and things like that. But did you know that they also do some great bar mats? They're called Bar Impressions, and I'm holding one right here. This is their 14-inch by 14-inch bar mat, full bleed, PMS matching. Let's see. Full bleed Pantone matching, and super easy to clean. There's no art fees, no setup fees. 5 per day production, made in the USA. Love this thing. Love this thing. Cool. So it comes in this size, which I lovingly place here to subtly. And then the serving mat. If you can't see the serving mat, that's 3.5 inches by 21. Again, it's the next generation bar mat, and I love this thing. It's so easy to use and fun to use. So when I'm playing mixologist at home, Kirby, I break these things out, and I look like I know what I'm doing. They're pretty cool. So big shout out to Logo Mats. Yeah, so if you want to learn more, head over to logomatsllc.com. Give Miles Wadsworth, a good friend of ours, a shout out. He'd love that. So absolutely. Definitely really cool stuff there.
All right,
All right, Kirby. The next category is the what the fudge moment of 2020 in our industry. I have mine. What is yours?
So I have two. Sorry, I wasn't sure we were doing one. So
no, hey, you can do as many as you want. It's your dime, your dance floor.
All right, and I feel like I'm beating this drum, that's dead horse or whatever. But my first one that popped into my head was Bic renaming themselves the Koozie Group. So that was.
Let me write that off. That's the only one I came up with.
Okay. So sorry about that. But
Let's talk about that for a minute.
Okay,
Since I don't have one now.
Yeah.
Thank you. But it still drives me bananas. If McDonald's wanted to change their name, they wouldn't do it to Big Mac. You wouldn't name it after one product in your entire line. I still don't understand it.
Yeah. And again, not only, so the idea of renaming themselves to the product in their line is definitely a piece, but it just, how like some things just hit and you're just like, it literally was like, what the, and that was for me, the biggest one for me of the year.
That was the one. It was, as I've said before, and I'll say it again. When I read that, it was like a frozen salmon hit me upside the head because like, what just happened?
Yeah.
What?
And the other one. The other one I have is just the backlash about masks, a backlash about people wearing masks and how it's, and this, but we created campaigns to try and promote the safety of people in our community by step up and mask up. And I was called everything from a Nazi to a fascist to and it was just like, dude, just trying to keep people safe. I just don't understand that.
Yeah.
That's a
that's a good what the fudge moment because it seems so simple. Yeah, it's inconvenient. Yeah, there's been times I've had to turn around because I forgot my mask and things like that. But it's is that the North Pole calling, Kirby?
It is. Let me tell them to call back.
Okay. So as Kirby answers a call from the North Pole, I'm going to go ahead and chat a little bit about, the masks are a little inconvenient. They're a little annoying at times, but you do it for other people. And I will say this, I have crossed the bridge and I think you're there as well. If I'm walking around in a store and I see you not wearing a mask, I really kind of jump to the conclusion you're an asshole. So there you go. That's it.
Yeah.
All right. So before we go to my favorite part, which is going to be the things that inspired us in 2020, I think we said last week we really wanted this to be positive, and I like what we're doing. I thought it'd be kind of cool if we recognize some of the people we lost, in the promotional products industry. So I don't know if this is an exhaustive list. So if I've missed someone, please have a little grace. But we lost Robert Hickenbotham, the founder of Claire Chase, Pat Murphy, worked at Imagen Brands. We mentioned them earlier. Brian Sask, Key Innovations, Sydney Siegel, Industrial Contacts, Janet Montgomery from TD Mills, John Bennis from Sequel. I know you knew John. Sheldon Minster from Jack Nadell, Kenneth Mayer, Procrest Apparel and Promotions, Barry Schneider from Barron Promotions and Marketing, Deborah Berger from Hosh Daw Custom Embroidery, Tom Robertson from the Robertson Marketing Group. I knew Tom a little bit. Ida Cooper from Island Pen, Lyndon Pearson from American Household Products, a PPI Hall of Famer, just a great guy all around. Arthur Hohenwald from Spartan Promotion Group, Gene Galen from A&G Sales Promotions, Bill Vernon, one of the titans of our industry, one of the lions of our industry in terms of Vernon Promotions, top 40 perennial top 40 distributor, and then of course T. Hamilton from Creative Alchemy. Hate that we've lost so many true inspirational visionaries. It's kind of just the way it is, but I don't think we do 2020 justice if we really want to put it in the rearview mirror by not mentioning some of those folks who unfortunately have passed.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking a minute. This is you, just like we talked about, you spent a little time just trying to make sure that we, name some names and
Absolutely.
Gave some virtual high fives on that. So good stuff.
All right. So Kirby, how many? Now the last part of this, and then we'll get to the party in the back. And the party in the back today is awesome. I'm not gonna lie, it's awesome. So I have a pretty good list, maybe 6 of things that inspired. Do you have quite a big list of things that inspired
I have
you?
several, but I'm excited to hear yours.
Okay. So do you want me to just go through all mine then? Or?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So things that inspired me in 2020, and we kind of touched on some of them, and so some will be redundant. Number one, thing that inspired me was Roger Burnett with Stan Phelps writing Red Goldfish promo edition. Roger,
I have a feeling
Stan,
we're going to have some overlap here, so that's why I wanted you to go with your list.
I think so. So Roger, it's a how promotional products leverage purpose to increase impact. Full transparency, Roger's a good friend. Stan is a good friend. Stan is a renowned author, a best-selling author, and co-wrote this with Roger. And it's a really nice. That's a terrible word. It's a really important primer on how to use promotional products and promotional merchandise in a way that's impactful, but also does good in the community. And so I figured that'd be on yours. Sorry to step on you there.
Oh, no. Again, it's a good thing that I think the similar things inspire us. And I think that if you want to be inspired by the promotional products industry, you need to read that book. That's what the whole book is about.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Brian Jolin's cancer fight. He is in stage 4 cancer, and he has been very brave about how he's fighting that. And he's a listener of this podcast, although he tells me he usually tunes out about 10 or 15 minutes because that's his attention span. So we'll see if he made it to this. But that's been inspiring to me.
That's a good one.
Danny Rosen actually sent us an email. I'm sure that's on your list. Danny has always been a perennial do-gooder. If you don't know Danny, he's co-president of Brand Fuel and also on the PPAI board. He is involved in a number of boards and things that make his community better, but he's actually gone deeper in 2020 in his community and really extended himself to create as much good as he can in the Raleigh area. And I will tell you, if there's a Hall of Fame for good human beings, Danny Rosen needs to be at the head of that list.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you say that because I literally wrote, Roger Burnett was my number 1, number 2 was Danny. And I was like, we really should start an agency for promoting Danny Rosen. I feel like we mention him and rightfully so, but it was like, so I actually came back and modified my list and just said the many or several people speaking out on behalf of and stepping up on behalf of diversity initiatives, which that was one of many things that Danny was vocal about. So I was excited to see people take leadership roles in that.
And we also talked about that last week. Nikki, Stella, and you and I both got a really nice email from Nikki. She heard the podcast from Aim Smarter. They have that diversity initiative. That's inspiring to me. I didn't put that on the list because we just talked about it, but that's one.
But it's so important though, right? And there aren't that many people. There's a lot of people who've talked about it. We said this last week, but I think it's really important. A lot of people have talked about it. Those who are creating initiatives where it can actually be implemented, I think it's worth noting again.
Well, when we have an industry where the vast majority look just like us, it's important. Promo Care's partnership with Promo Kitchen, I really liked seeing that. That's been inspiring. They've put out some really good content. You talked earlier about how promotional products, the industry has stepped up and became a personal protective equipment provider. I thought that was amazing. That's a great one. And then the last one I have, and you might have some more. The thing I found as a whole from our industry perspective, most inspiring, Kirby, was how people finally outside of our industry recognized how valuable and powerful promotional products is as a connector of people. It's not something simple. You just put a logo on, right? It's so much more than that. When you do it with intent, when you do it with purpose, when you do it with thought, that honestly I'm so proud to be part of this industry because of that. So that really inspired the hell out of me, Kirby.
Yeah, no, and that's really good. Really the only other one, because we had a ton of overlap, but the only other one you mentioned earlier, but it was one of my sources of inspiration, were the several people who were displaced or decided to jump into new side hustles or new businesses. You mentioned Soapbox, Brand of 8, many of those others. And like for me as a person who, literally entrepreneurship is my hobby. Yeah. And so when I see that, I get excited about that. And so that has inspired me.
Yeah. And I would push back. I don't think entrepreneurship is your hobby. Your job is your hobby. Entrepreneurship is your life.
Yeah. Okay.
You're a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
All right. We're at the final party in the back for 2020, and I love this one. So Kirby and I, a little background on what we're doing here. So Kirby and I have had we have several running arguments through the course of our friendship, and one of them is the relative merit of secular Christmas songs. So what we are going to do is a 16-song bracket, Kirby.
Okay.
And so you are going to decide. I have a bracket. If you can look right here, if you look on the screen, I have a bracket all set up. I have 16 songs. I have seeded them. So let me go. So what we're going to do, Kirby, we're going to match up just like the NCAA basketball tournament. Okay. And you're going to pick the greatest secular Christmas song in the history of all time. Okay. So let's go through the seedings. Number one, should we go 16 to 1?
Sure.
Should do 16 to 1. Yeah. 16, Blue Christmas by Elvis.
Okay.
15, Last Christmas by Wham. You don't need to write these down. I'm going to help you out. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
14, Happy Holidays by Andy Williams.
Okay.
13, Santa Claus is Coming to Town by Bruce Springsteen.
Okay.
12, Santa Baby by Eartha Kitt.
Okay.
11, Do They Know It's Christmas by Band-Aid. 10, Wonderful Christmas Time by Paul McCartney. Number 9, Jingle Bell Rock by Bobby Helms. Number 8, Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree by Brenda Lee. Number 7, Frosty the Snowman by Jimmy Durante. Number 6, coming in at the 6th seed, Christmas Song by Nat King Cole. Number 5, The Most Wonderful Time of the Year by Johnny Mathis. Number 4, Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow by Dean Martin. Number 3, It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas by Bing Crosby. Number 2, Happy Christmas, War is Over by John Lennon and the Plastic Ono Band. Number 1, your number 1 seed, All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey.
Okay.
All right, Kirby, let's start with there are going to be some tough ones here. Okay. So I have the official bracket. I will only advance when you advance a song. If you'd like to tell us why you're picking that song, I think the audience would like that.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Would. All right. Blue Christmas by Elvis Presley coming at a 16 seed, battling All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey. Who do you got?
Okay, I'm going Blue Christmas all day, every
Wow!
day.
A huge upset. A 16 has never beaten a 1. Wow. Blue Christmas. Whoa. That is amazing.
Yeah, well, again, it's one of those where I think Elvis has a classic voice, great for Christmas songs, and I am not a ginormous fan of Mariah Carey, and that's one of those songs that I think is overdone and overhyped. So, Blue Christmas.
I got to be honest, folks at home, I didn't see this coming. This just throws everything into chaos. And by the way, notice I didn't put Baby It's Cold Outside because that song creeps me out. All right.
It should.
All right. An 8 versus a 9. Number 8, Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree versus number 9, Jingle Bell Rock, Kirby.
I'm going to go Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree. I actually think both of these are pretty good, and I think the 8 and the 9 makes sense. But I don't know. I have a hankering for that one.
Okay. Let It Snow, number 4 seed, Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow by Dean Martin versus the 13 seed, Santa Claus is Coming to Town by Bruce Springsteen.
I'm going to go Santa Claus is Coming to Town by the Boss.
Oh, come on.
For what it's worth, I actually don't care for that song that much either. I think that's sort of overrated as well, but I'm not Let It Snow. Big understand that this is an interesting time to do this because I'm totally sick of Christmas music right now.
I know, that's why I chose to do it now. All right, number 12, Santa Baby from Eartha Kitt, also bordering on creepy, or the number 5 seed, Most Wonderful Time of the Year by Johnny Mathis.
Easy. The Most Wonderful Time of the Year by Johnny Mathis is, I do not like the song Santa Baby. Again, totally overdone. And but Johnny Mathis, that dude can sing some Christmas carols. That is one of my favorites.
All right. Okay, Kirby, I'm very curious how this one's going to turn out. Number 15 seed, Wham! Comes in with Last Christmas versus the number 2 seed, Happy Christmas, War is Over by John Lennon and the Plastic Ono Band.
Yeah, I'm going to go with John Lennon on this one. So Last Christmas, I do feel like we have reached a weird place in my life where people are redoing Wham! Like I've heard a bunch of Last Christmas this year that were not by Wham! I didn't think I'd ever get to a place where we were going to actually redo that song, but definitely Happy Christmas is one of my favorites.
When Wham becomes classic rock, you know you're old. All
Yeah.
right, number 7 versus number 10. So number 10 seed Paul McCartney with "Wonderful Christmas Time" versus number 7 Frosty the Snowman, Jimmy Durante. What do you got?
Wonderful Christmas Time all
right.
day long, and you knew I was going to say that.
I don't know what you're talking about. Number 3 seed, "It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas" by Bing Crosby, a classic by any stretch of the imagination. Or number 14, "Happy Holidays" by the Good, that is Andy Williams. Both very traditional bracket we got going over here.
Yeah, I'm going to be
Southeast region.
It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Yes,
okay.
For sure.
Yeah, the 3 seed unseats the 14. No shock there, Kirby. We're getting there. You're doing a great job.
Thanks.
Number 6, Kirby, "Christmas Song" by Nat King Cole versus "Do They Know It's Christmas" by Band-Aid.
Ooh, this is a tough one. This was actually a tough one.
This could be an upset, folks. Watch out. This could be an upset.
So give me the first one. I'm sorry.
A Christmas Song by Christmas Song by Johnny Mathis, which is number 6 seed, and "Do They Know It's Christmas," which is an 11 seed by Band-Aid, a group of do-gooders.
So is Johnny Mathis is that one?
That would be Johnny Mathis Christmas Song. Yeah. I'm sorry. No, I apologize. That would be Nat King Cole. I said
Nat King Cole. Sorry, I'm going to go Nat King Cole on this one. Okay. Sorry. This is where visually it would help me. I really like both songs actually. I've heard "Do They Know It's Christmas" more this year, and I really like that song. But I think again, from just a classic Christmas tune, I'm going to go the other way.
Okay. All right, we are in the Elite 8, Kirby. We'll get through this very quickly. So number 8 seed, "Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree" versus the upset of upsets, "Blue Christmas" by Elvis.
Blue Christmas by Elvis.
Wow, 16 seeds advances. Unbelievable. The king of rock and roll making a deep run here in the Secular Song Challenge.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I got
another big stunning upset. "Santa Claus Coming to Town" by Bruce Springsteen, right off the heels of the upset of "Let It Snow" by Dean Martin. You were wrong in that one, by the way. Versus "The Most Wonderful Time of the Year," that would be by Johnny Mathis.
Yeah, most wonderful time of the year for sure, all day, every day.
Hey, that is the end of the run for the boss, Bruce Springsteen, out of the tournament in the Elite 8. Thank you, Bruce, for playing along. All right, Kirby, "It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas." That'd be the Bing Crosby classic versus "The Christmas Song" by Johnny Mathis or Nat King Cole. Nat King Cole.
Yeah, I'm going to go "The Christmas Song." The Christmas Song.
Christmas Song by Nat King Cole. All right, and this is the one we've all been waiting for, Kirby. I set up the brackets, and I was hoping this would happen, and gosh darn it, it did. We have number 2, "Happy Christmas" by John Lennon and the Plastic Ono Band versus number 10, "Wonderful Christmas Time" by Paul McCartney. Kirby, who do you have, the 2nd seed or the 10 seed?
Yeah, this is actually a tough one for me. I really like "Wonderful Christmas Time." I think overall the song "Happy Christmas Time" is a better song.
So you will pick John Lennon. Okay,
John Lennon,
you finally got that right. "Wonderful Christmas Time" is the word. I love Paul McCartney. Other than Eddie Van Halen, he's my favorite musician of all time, and that is the worst Christmas song in the history of ever. All right, Kirby, final 4. We got a 2 seed, a 6 seed, a 5 seed, and a 16 seed. This is amazing. All right, Kirby. In the mistletoe bracket, we have "Blue Christmas" by Elvis Presley versus "The Most Wonderful Time of the Year" by Johnny Mathis. Who do you got?
Most Wonderful Time of the Year, Johnny Mathis for sure.
Okay, all right. And then in the that was a Holly division, right? Or is that the mistletoe?
That was a mistletoe, I think is what you said.
Okay, this is the Holly division. I'm sorry, I can't keep track.
John McClane's wife. Got it.
Yeah, I did not really prepare. I thought I prepared a lot. Clearly, I haven't. All right, so we have a 2 seed versus a 6 seed. So 2 in "Happy Christmas War Is Over" by John Lennon, or "The Christmas Song" by...
I'm going John Lennon here too. That's, again, it stands to be one of my favorite songs to listen. You know, there are songs that you hear and you go, oh, that is Christmas, but then there are songs you look forward to, and "Happy Christmas Time" is one of those I look forward to.
All right, Kirby, we are down to the championship matchup. We've got Johnny Mathis with "The Most Wonderful Time of the Year" versus John Lennon and the Plastic Ono Band, "Happy Christmas War Is Over." Kirby, who is your secular Christmas song champion for 2020?
So there are certain songs that all through your life you hear and you think that is the the Christmas song, but then there's also the Christmas albums, especially as when we grew up, there was records and tapes and CDs. There was a tape that we listened to all Christmas season long, and it was Johnny Mathis. Johnny Mathis and The Most Wonderful Time of the Year is the #1 song this year.
Honestly, Kirby, I think you did a really good job. You didn't try to draw me off sides. You answered adequately. I still think All I Want for Christmas. Wow, what a big upset by Elvis in Blue Christmas.
Such a terrible song.
Regardless, it's very popular, Kirby. It's very, very popular. You know what else is popular, Kirby?
What's that, Bill?
Thank you for knowing to pretend to ask and care. I'm talking about the Promo Pulse app by our good pal Jason Noakes. You know, it has the pulse of the entire industry right there at your fingertips. That's why it's called Promo Pulse. As we were recording, we got it verified. That's why the name of the company is Promo Pulse, because they keep your finger on the pulse of the industry. It's got those wonderful ideas, inspiration, information. You can search, save, and share content from the entire industry. They have the Alexa-enabled app. They're giving away a Google show for anybody who is, using the app and getting the emails. And now, I mean, every week it seems like he's rolling out something else. It's pretty amazing. And now you have that Weekend Pulse email, so you can see what's really trending on the Promo Pulse app. And so, as you drink your eggnog, as you enjoy your revelry from a socially distanced, safe place, Promo Pulse thanks you. So download that app. You're not going to be sorry you did. Now, Kirby, you've got your Cleveland Browns mug that you're fake drinking out of, which we all appreciate because the Browns are playing very well. Kirby, on behalf of my family, I hope you, Amy, Jade, Skylar have a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous Christmas. We'll do this next week. We'll look forward to 2021, but it's been a good year so far.
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate you.